Thank you all for joining. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting Terry, but for everyone else's sake who is watching, Terry, please introduce yourself, all the amazing work that you do, and I totally admire. And yeah, just so everyone can get to know you, really. So,
Okay, thank you,
yeah,
Lydia.
no worries.
Um, I am a Jungian psychodynamic psychotherapist. That's my initial training, and I do treat dancers and other performing artists and give workshops. But why dancers? Well, my history is that I can't remember whether it was age 5 or 6. I started ballet class and went through sort of local class training until age 10 when I became, excuse me, a scholar of the RAD, which I suppose nowadays is the same as an associate of the different organisations. But I got a scholarship for that for 5 years. And then I went to the Royal Ballet Upper School for 2 and a bit years. The bit years was my graduation year. In January of my graduation year, the artistic director of the Royal Ballet phoned up the school and asked them to release me to join the company, which I thought was brilliant. I didn't have to audition.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But you know, the school does work with both the companies, but they were both companies in those days, so they knew all the students' work anyway. And I was there for I think for about 2.5 years. And my teacher at the Royal Ballet School, who had left by then, said you need to join London's Festival Ballet. That's now called English National Ballet. He said that one of the character dancers there, because that was my sort of favourite thing, my niche, has left. So I went along to do a class with them. They said, what tricks can you do? And I showed them different Russian things, Russian dancing. And they said, yep, okay, we'll take you. So I left very quickly the Royal Ballet and joined Festival Ballet. I became a soloist straight away. I did a lot of principal roles in that. Sancho Panza, Dr. Coppelius, headmistress in Grad Ball, and the Russian dances in Swan Lake and Sleeping Beauty, and etc. But I wanted to do more. I wanted to use my voice, and during a summer break, I saw in the stage. Saw in the stage that there was an audition for the UK tour of West Side Story. Now, West Side Story is ballet based, so I did that, got the part, and did a 3 months tour of that. And then from then on, I said, no, I'm not going to go back to the ballet bubble, and did West End musicals, film, and TV work. After which, when I retired, excuse me, when I retired, I set up a business management organisation to look after people in show business, and had a number of high-profile people that I did everything for. You know, looked after their personal and business management. That was the name of the organisation I set up, and I built it up and ran it for 15 years. And then I sold the business, and I thought I'd take early retirement. But with someone who is atypical ADHD and autism, I just couldn't settle down. I got bored after a few years, and then this advert for being a therapist. It was a Jungian psychodynamic psychotherapy training, and I thought, yeah, that's what I want to do, because those 15 years in that business management organisation, people would offload their problems after our meetings. And I thought, I've obviously got one of those faces. People just offload on.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to know what to do at that time. But when this training program came up, I thought, yeah, that's it. That's great. And I saw the general population up until, so that was from 2010 up until 2016, when the first dancer that came to see me, having been discharged from a psychiatric unit, both of us knew then that a dancer, or even an ex-dancer, has to have a therapist who was a dancer to truly understand what they went through in training, what they went through in their profession. And that's when I started looking around the UK saying, what is there available? And I went to One Dance UK meetings and things like that. And then in January 2017, I set up the website Counselling for Dancers. And then a few years ago, and this all came from COVID because there was nothing around, I set up a charity called STEPS, STEPPS. And that has been building to offer. We've now got 2 trainee counsellors, so they're volunteers and they won't be charging for their therapy sessions. So you get 6 sessions free through these 2, and they were dancers as well, so they had a true understanding. All the other ones have been therapists for a long time. They've all got a background in performing arts, basis of dance, of different genres, and we've all agreed. So I'm one of those, and we've all agreed to a low flat fee of £45 a session rather than the free one. So we've got the 2 with the free. I still do the workshops, but I've got a couple of people that are going to be learning how to do the workshops. So we go around to schools, even to dance companies to do these workshops, mental health, self-care, understanding. And then I've negotiated with a very large UK mental health training organisation to give up to 40% discount on mental health first aid training and all the other training around that, not just the renewal training, it was all other different training. So that can be online or in their centres, but you can go to the STEPS website. But I'm sure you'll put the addresses
Absolutely.
at the
Yeah,
end. Are great. And I live on the Isle of Wight, sunny Isle of Wight, beautiful blue sky, but I think everyone's got blue sky at the moment in the UK.
definitely. Yeah.
And that's me.
No, thank you, Terry. It's a really, really good intro. And I absolutely love what you do, and especially for that industry. So, a sort of follow up question from what you just said. Would you say within that niche industry of performing arts, there is somewhat a positive change happening with mental health support? Are you seeing are you seeing a change, seeing an improvement? Because I think even, obviously my background's not like yours in performing arts, but when I was in that industry, not very accessible, not very spoken about. And I think obviously I definitely would have benefited from your services at that point in my life. So yeah, I was just wondering, are you seeing a change in that industry? It's just really intriguing for me now that I've been out of it for so many years to see what you think.
There has been a change, but I think in a lot of establishments it's a box ticking change.
Yes.
So they're not actually following through. They are using, and I'm nothing, I'm not putting them down at all, but they're using performance psychologists to do what they think is mental health training. Well, it isn't, and
Yeah.
the psychologists know that they're not trained for that, but they're being brought in. The reason why is psychology is a safer word or title than mental health practitioner or a counsellor, or
Yeah.
because the amount of money that is spent on physical therapy, on physical therapists and machines and God knows what else by these big companies, big ballet companies,
Mm.
is enormous.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And they push things to the side for the mental health side of things and say, well,
Mm.
let's call it psychology. But they don't consciously do that. The unconscious thing is a stigma.
Hmm.
So they may announce, unfortunately, such and such is in a program, such and such is injured, and therefore their replacement is such and such, this another person, but they won't say, I'm sorry, the person is having a mental health day off the performance. The stigma is still so right. I mean, in general terms, in the general population, but also in performing arts, everything has to be perfect. The
Yeah.
awful word.
Yeah.
Everything on stage in front of the camera must be right. You do not talk about mental health issues.
Yeah.
Now, since I've been doing this, I mean, I know, I may have mentioned in the introduction, I'm atypical ADHD and ASD, autistic spectrum disorder. I have not been diagnosed, and that's what atypical means. I know that I'm there. And
Yeah.
Lydia, you know, and I think I told you beforehand in the pre-chat, if I go off on a tangent, bring me back because that's what
Yeah.
happens to me.
Well, I'm also neurodivergent, so we might
Yeah,
be for a bit of a challenge there, Sarah.
we'll bring each other back. We'll bring each other
Yeah.
back on that.
Bring each other back on track, exactly.
Yeah, and so I have seen a lot more. Was I at 5 or 6 years old having these strong neurodivergent traits, both of ADHD and autism, or was my ballet training exacerbating those traits because everything has to be right. Ballet training in itself
Yeah.
is very black and white thinking. You're either right or you're wrong. You think about ballroom, Irish dancing, they're competition. So you're either right or you're wrong,
Yeah.
even though the judging is very subjective to the individual judges.
Mm.
You're either right or you're wrong. And so that exacerbates because a child will want to be safe growing up. And to be safe, you have to do what you're wanted, especially in the very blinkered ballet training world.
Yeah.
I haven't even gone into sort of the brutality of some of the training, but just in itself,
Mm.
it's very blinkered
Yeah.
in that world. And so to please the people, I mean, we all become people pleasers.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, you've got to please the teacher, your parents, whoever's funding your schooling for you,
Mm.
the artistic director when you get there, the ballet management team or the dance team management if it's not ballet. But all of these people throughout your life, are you going through pleasing people? And
Yeah.
therefore that then exacerbates the neurodiverse traits. And you
Yeah.
don't actually become yourself. You're becoming something that somebody that someone else wants you to be.
Yeah.
And at that point, you then, some people will argue me with this, but at that point, you've lost the joy of what
Mm.
you started dancing for and how wonderful it was and what the fun you had. And,
Yes.
you know, I see it so many times in the people that come for therapy for me that
Yeah.
they've just lost it. And I want to give up. I said, okay, well, just take yourself back and bring back the joy.
Yeah.
You know, try do that and see what happens.
Yeah.
Bring back the joy, and then when you come back and see me again, then we'll talk about it. See, and they say, yeah, wow, I didn't think about where my legs should be and what's it, and the joy was there, the freedom, the shoulders went down, everything was much freer and flowing, and
Yeah.
people noticed that I, not me, the clients, they're saying, wow, you look so much younger as well, because
Yeah.
the strain of having to look like what someone else wants you to look like is a
Exactly.
lot. I'll stop
Yeah.
there.
No, I everything you just said is I really resonate with. And I've kind of when I reflected on why I left the particular training I was in, a lot of the points that you just made were the reason I left, with the joy being zapped out of it. Because I think with anyone that's in the dance industry, musical theatre industry, performing arts, you start it for a reason and you start it with a pure joy that you feel on stage training because you love what you do. And I think if that starts sort of coming away from you and the joy, you're like, you forget why you ever started it. Because when you're in that kind of training, like you say, you are who they want you to be. And I think it's when you lose your performing kind of mindset in terms of just being yourself and adding your own kind of spin on your dancing and things like that, which is what I always love doing. And also another point that I wanted to make is because in my training, I'm not quite sure what they would have said to you, but a lot of the time it was said that it was 60% mental, 40% physical. So like you can have all the talent, be really hardworking, physically you're very able, but if that mindset isn't correct, then it's going to slip through the cracks. And that's where I kind of started questioning it. And I was like, well, if that's arguably more important, then surely some of our training should be sort of mindset training, or it should be counseling, or it should be this or this, that, or the other. so that doesn't happen. Because I do feel like once your mindset starts slipping and things become a little bit overwhelming, and also being ADHD, I think I thrived when I was younger, like you said, of structure, and dance gave me structure and it gave me discipline and it gave me so many things that I still carry to this day. And again, something I really resonated with what you said is losing the identity. I think that was my thing as well. I think because I just became so hyper focused on what I needed to be or what they wanted me to be, that when I did walk away from what was my sort of dream job, it's taken me a while to get back to, well, who am I naturally, if you see what I mean. So yeah, I just really loved all those points because I really do resonate with them, and I'm sure a lot of people that have either trained in dancing or going on to do amazing things would also really relate to that.
I'll go back to mindset in a moment, but I want to say you can still move because I saw a recent post of you dancing in your bedroom.
Yeah, yes, no, yeah.
And the joy was there.
The joy
Yay!
behind it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't have a hairbrush in your hand though to sing a song, though.
No, no, I can't sing, Sarah. Can't sing.
So
No,
let's get back to
yeah,
the mindset.
yeah,
And this is where establishments, however small, think that they need a performance psychologist.
yeah.
Why has the mindset changed
Mm,
in that person? That's where I come in. So because my work is deeper than
yeah.
that as a psychotherapist.
Mm,
So I will look at the reasons of the why, whereas with a mindset change, it's the surface.
yeah,
You need to think like this to be able to get on stage and perform well.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the difference of the way I work. I will work on that level as well.
Mm,
So some years ago, an Australian dancer who was in a company in Europe came to see me for injury rehabilitation, and also there was anxiety as well.
mm,
And he was going through all of this, and the anxiety of, is this the end of my career, and all of that sort of thing. But he was working with the physical therapist. I was working on what's going on for him emotionally, and we got him back, and he was due to go on the following week. And he said, "There's one thing I want to ask you. I can't do a double soda bars to the left. I can do a double soda bars to the right. But he said, this soda that I've got to do next week, he said, can you help me with that?" But of course I can, because I use, and I recently did a talk about this at the University of Wolverhampton Symposium, the dance science thing.
yeah.
And in sports and athletics, it's called motor imagery. Now, I call it visualization, but I did the talk on motor imagery because it's a dance science talk and I've got to use their jargon.
Yeah.
But I use visualization. I use visualizations for dream re-entry. So I work with dreams as well in therapy. And so I worked through with him, first of all, why couldn't he do it? If you can do it on one side, and he's done double soda baths before back in his student days, why couldn't he do it? So he worked out why, and it was an incident that he crashed into the wings doing the double soda baths to the left.
Okay.
And from that, memory was still there.
Yeah.
So regardless of doing a mindset change, you can't do that if a underlying factor is still going to trigger you later down the line. And
Yeah.
so we work through that. We work through the motor imagery, the visualization of him doing the double soda bars to the left safely. And how did it make him feel? So you're generating the brain, the body. He didn't do a double soda bars. He was just visualizing using the intrinsic link between the mind and the body. So the brain was signaling to the body. The body says, oh, yes, okay, we could do that. Ah, there's a bit of enjoyment there. Oh, let's add the enjoyment. Yes. So all of these aspects, you look at the holistic side of
Yeah.
a person, the whole person. And he came back the following week for another session. He said, I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
Because things like performance anxiety are only in the mind. I know
Mm,
people use it as a derogatory term. Oh, it's only in the mind, or you're only
mhm.
thinking. Unfortunately, yes, that's true, but let's say it nicely.
Yeah.
What's the reason for that? So you look at the underlying reasons rather than saying, oh, you have to change the way you're thinking about this and that. Yeah, you might be able to do it for that performance, but the trigger of what you're holding on to in your body, the trauma, is in your body.
Yeah.
That'll come back later in time.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it's like with most things, though, there's always a bigger picture, if you know what I mean. There's always a deep rooted everything to is why everyone is how they are walking through life. There's always a reason. Any kind of emotional reaction or preemption isn't just them being, overreactive or anything like that. It's actually a response. And it must have been triggered from something or an event that's happened in their life where they've associated it. And I think that's what can sometimes lack, not just in that industry, and I mean just in general life. Like people can kind of overlook people's reactions or emotions, or it can go unnoticed. But really, there's always a reason. I think that people have always got a story. If you know what I mean, like you say, it's how you say things and it's how you approach people. If you know what I mean, is makes all the difference. I think.
the issue is people want a quick fix.
Yeah.
And so the quick fix is what are your symptoms? We'll help with the symptoms, but you don't work out the underlying factors, like a paracetamol for a headache.
Yeah.
Take a paracetamol, the headache goes, and then next week you get the headache again because you haven't found out why you got the headache in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's
Um,
quite a reactive as opposed to a proactive approach
yes,
sometimes.
it's called reductionist. And so the NHS use this.
Mm.
They will, just generally speaking, I'm not going to put the NHS down. Generally speaking, they will find out your symptoms and then treat the symptoms.
Hmm.
It's very rare that, and then they're repeating, and think, oh, actually, let's look down, let's find out. Well, then that's when they start doing tests and different things like that. But generally speaking, the performing arts world will just find out a quick fix.
Yeah.
They don't want to know about anything else. You've got to go on stage. Let's quick fix you. You get on stage.
Hmm. Yeah. It's like putting a plaster over something, isn't it? And
Brilliant. Well, yes, it's
yeah,
putting a plaster over a great slash.
yeah, exactly. And which is not ever going to or help the long term problem, is it?
Not at all. And
That's
and then it'll short dancers' lives,
yeah,
working lives. It may even shorten dancers' lives as well.
yeah. So there's a lot at stake.
There
It's us.
is,
It's taking
yeah.
this seriously. Yeah, definitely.
You talk about your career, uh, your reason you stopped, you didn't want to do it.
Mm.
If you think about that, then if there had been more support, would you have danced professionally longer?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I say that. I've said that from the get go. I knew that was the reason why I ultimately haven't. And I think it was my mental health that let me down. Um, just wasn't supported enough. And I don't think I understood or knew how to channel the anxiety or the pressures and I think with that, if it's so, I don't know, simmering almost, and it's like how I describe it, right? I would say for a big part of my growing up and being training and doing that, it was like putting a pot over a sizzling pan. It was just kind of like and I knew subconsciously, I knew that I can't take this, but I just didn't know where to go, who to talk to, why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And I think, as you were speaking about neurodivergency, and I think with ADHD, which is what I'm diagnosed with, I used to, it's funny what you remember, isn't it? But I used to be, before I'd even go, I don't know, to a class, or specifically if I was about to go on stage, everyone else around me would be, yeah, a little bit of nerves. Nerves are always good. It means that you care. It means it's that's fine. I can handle that. But I would look around or scan around and I'd be like, oh, why is no one feeling this amount of intense anxiety? Like it's not, oh, I feel a bit anxious. It takes over. Like it's a whole body experience. And I would be flat out on like the wings with a mega stomach ache and dizziness and like everything like that. And then weirdly, you would never know because as soon as I come on stage, it goes. Because when I was on stage, I loved it. The anxiety would just go. And I think that's what kept me there for so long. But then that's like the top of the iceberg and all the training underneath and the pressures. you wouldn't necessarily know as an observer, but when you're in it, it's like, well, is it worth me going through all of that just for how many dances in a show? It was like trying to level up the pros and cons, and it just, yeah. But I think that's kind of what I'm starting to do, what I want to do now. And I think it's such a positive change that you're talking about and things like that. And young dancers or current people in the industry or even people that are retired to have access to this sort of stuff, I think will make a more long-term, fun-filled enjoyment career for dancers, which is why they started it in the first place, is what I think.
It doesn't have for help. It doesn't have to just be dancers. It is the dance world.
Yes.
So
And
teachers and things
yeah.
like teachers, choreographers, artistic directors, they can all come for help
Yes. No,
from
exactly.
us. So my book is coming out, one of my books, because I've got a number of mini books, but this one is going to be a print version. The other versions are all ebooks, which you'll find on the
Yeah.
counsellingfordancers.com website under ebooks. But this one is going to be a print book. It is called The Gift of Difference: How to Support Neurodivergent Dancers.
Oh, I love that.
And it's the gift. So what were my traits that created the ability to perform,
Mm.
and for the different businesses that I've ran, the ideas that are just flowing out of my head. I didn't get, and this is why it's a spectrum disorder. All these neurodiverse are all spectrum disorders, so people aren't the same. They might get the same scoring to
Yeah.
get a diagnosis, but they're not the same.
No.
I never got overwhelm. You got overwhelm,
Yeah.
but I never got overwhelm.
Really.
I just had all these ideas. When I choreographed, I would listen to the music, close my eyes, and I would see the dancers doing whatever came into my head. It didn't necessarily mean that the piece that I choreographed is going to be what I saw, but
Yeah.
it was a start. As we got on, we think, but the start was there, my vision was there, but all I had to do was just close my eyes, and it was there in front of me. It was like a film.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I've spoken to other people about this, and they say, "Yeah, that's the way I do." Other people came up with different ideas
Yeah.
that how they choreographed. I've got a script writer, an actor who's a script writer, and he will start with an idea at 10 o'clock at night and go through to about 5 o'clock in the morning. That's where it becomes detrimental. Yes, how
Mm.
brilliant that is. So what I've got him to move his hours forward when he comes up. I said, just record your idea and then leave it for another time. So he started doing that. All of our traits are habits, and
Yeah.
they are wired into the brain.
Mm.
So we will then, for the detrimental side of things, we then need to create the different habits.
Yeah.
And this is called incremental change. In other words, just change small things at a time. If you try
Mm.
and change too much, you're going to set yourself up to fail.
Mm.
So you change small things at a time. So I've got an adult retired dancer who has got OCD, ADHD, and autism, and she must have these things set. And even her children, her adult children, are saying, we don't need to have dinner at 6 o'clock. We
Yeah.
can have it when we want to.
Mm.
So I've got her to change just a couple of things, like making the bed and making sure that everything is all aligned. And she was telling me that when she was touring, her friend that toured with her got so annoyed with her taking hours at making her bed.
No.
But this is the perfectionism that's sort of built into us as ballet dancers,
Yeah.
and other dancers as well,
Yeah.
have that. And so you just change one thing. I said, leave one, what's it called, hospital bed, a hospital corner. Leave one hospital corner for a day and see, write down what you're feeling,
Yeah.
and then leave it like that until the night. Then you get into bed, and then change something else, and then go back and see how long you can do it. Does it matter that those three cushions that are in there are in line? Leave
Mm.
one out of line and see what it's like. And so she's been progressing that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you obviously don't do those sort of things that are helpful for you. Only do those things that are restricting your life and making your life detrimental to you, to your way of living. And this
Yeah.
is what the traits do. So the gift of difference is we have got incredible gifts.